I guess we can always still admit people, and so we can
Yeah.
go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. I hope that you all had a great Thanksgiving holiday and got to spend some time safely with family and friends and enjoy some good food and get some rest and all that.
Right.
Congratulations on completing your first semester of law school. I know it was a crazy time, and you guys probably did not anticipate that when you were looking into going to law school, having to do things remotely, but you guys survived. And so kudos to you for that. And thank you for being here today with the OCPD. We know that you guys have so much going on as your first semester of law school kind of came to a close. And so many departments, including our office, were throwing things at you, and it's just a lot of information to process. So we wanted to be sure that we scheduled time just for the 1L class to review some of the things that we've discussed earlier in the semester and to talk about how to best utilize your holiday break and start your 1L summer job search. So one of the benefits that you guys have compared to previous classes is that we ended the semester early. So it gives you a chance to kind of get caught up on some sleep and take a little bit of a break from school and classes and recoup from final exams and still have time to also do your job search. So you're having a little bit of a longer time than classes have had in the past. So we want to make sure that you guys use that time to your advantage. So we are going to get started. We have allotted 12 to 2. I don't know that we'll need the 2 hours, but we do want to get through our presentation and take our time with it and then still leave enough time for you all to ask questions. I know Kristen and I have been getting kind of the same questions from several of the 1Ls. And so hopefully the presentation today will answer a lot of those questions. But of course, if you still have questions, we'll have time for that at the end. And if you have a question about something that we are discussing at the time, feel free to put your question in the chat box. We'll try to keep an eye on it. If we don't answer it during the presentation, just ask us again during the Q&A portion at the end. Remember to keep your microphones on mute unless you are asking a question. We are recording the presentation. We will send out the recording after the presentation if you want to review it again. But just to share that as a disclosure, this is being recorded. Okay, with that, we will get started. Kristen, did you have anything to add?
Nope, just congratulations. Happy to see you guys, and hopefully you'll get some good information out of the presentation.
Okay, so, all right, so you have heard us talk about your 1L job search timeline over and over again, but we want to just take a moment to review that with you. So across the country, 1Ls will spend the next several weeks through the end of the spring semester searching for summer positions, okay? So many employers are accepting applications now that have December through February deadlines, which are kind of the earlier deadlines. So those employers are typically going to be your big law firms. And so when we say big law, we're talking about firms that have multiple offices nationwide or even internationally, usually over 200 to 500 lawyers within the firm. Those are considered your big law firms, okay? They always have the earliest deadlines. They're very grade focused. They call their positions summer associate positions or summer fellowships. So those are going to be your big major law firms. The other organizations that have early deadlines are corporations, and then the 1L diversity fellowships and programs. And we'll talk a little bit about those in a little bit. One of the bigger ones is going to be the Houston Bar Association's 1L diversity program. And then the ABA's Judicial Internship program, they also have an early deadline. I believe it's the end of January. Public service organizations, nonprofits, small and mid-sized firms, they're going to have a rolling application deadline, but they're usually going to be towards the middle to the end of spring. And some small and mid-sized employers will even hire at the very beginning of the summer, like around May. The reason for that is that they don't really know what their budget constraints are going to look like, if they're going to be able to afford to hire an intern. Some of the positions are unpaid, and they have to assess the need for an intern. They want to make sure they have enough work to give you over the summer. So that's why you'll see typically your government employers, nonprofit organizations, small and mid-sized firms typically hire late into the spring and early summer. So you may not see as many postings right now for those positions, but you want to keep your eye out on those organizations because they could post at any time with those spring deadlines. Okay, so students a lot of times will ask us, well, why do I have to work during the summer, especially my 1L summer? And so we put a little chart together to talk about the importance of why it's good and really important for you to work whenever you have the opportunity to, but especially to make the most of your summer. So why work? It's to gain legal experience as a law student. We have a lot of students who come from a paralegal background, or they've worked in a law office before, which is great. You guys are coming in with some experience, but employers want to see what you can do as a law student because they expect you to have been exposed to more in-depth information as a law student. So they really want to see how you perform over your summer now that you've got a semester or so of law school under your belt. It also gives you the opportunity to build legal skills, to learn about the different practice areas, and to discover what you like or don't like. Maybe you think you really want to do criminal law, and you get an internship doing criminal law, and you find out that you hate it, and that's not what you ultimately decide to do. Well, had you not had that exposure, you may not have known that until way late in your career, when it's kind of a little late to shift gears at that point. It also gives you the opportunity to build out your resume and start to grow your professional network. Employers are going to ask, how did you spend your summer? What did you do last summer? And you'll need to be able to tell them that you made the most of that time to continue building your legal skills. And you only have 2 summers in law school, right? So you've got your 1L summer and your 2L summer. Your 3L summer, you're going to be spending more than likely studying for the bar exam. So we really want you to take advantage of that uninterrupted time during the summer to build your legal skills. And over here on the side, you'll just say, I just wanted to remind everyone, you don't need prior legal experience to apply for a summer position. That's why you're applying, is to get legal experience and build your skills. Interning allows you to see the practical application of what you learn in the classroom. And these experiences that you get during the summer can often lead to postgraduate opportunity. Okay, so there's a couple different ways that you can work during the summer. You can choose to spend your whole summer with one employer, or you can split your summer with more than one employer. You can work a paid or an unpaid internship and also enroll in summer classes. A lot of students will do this if they're working an unpaid position, and so they'll take summer classes so that they can get their financial aid to kind of offset some of the costs associated with not having a paid position. And some people also choose to take classes because they kind of want to get a little bit ahead or maybe boost grades from that first semester of law school. You may also choose to work an unpaid and a paid non-legal job. So if you have an internship that's unpaid, students will maybe find a paid position at another law firm, or a paid position doing a non-legal job, meaning like retail or working in a restaurant or something like that, to offset the cost of having that unpaid position. So there's no limit to the options of how you can combine opportunities through the summer. So just keep that in mind as you're searching for positions. And Kristen, I can't see the chat box, so let me know if anyone's
Okay.
having
We're
any
good
questions.
so far.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now this is going to come to a point where we're going to take a little bit of time to go through Simplicity and review some resources in Simplicity. So you guys, I'm going to share my screen and have Simplicity pulled up here, but if you want to follow along on your own laptop or device, some people learn better by kind of doing it themselves, but you're welcome to follow along here with me. Give me a minute while I switch out my screen. But if you want to follow along, go ahead and pull up your Simplicity account and log in. Okay. So Kristen, is my Simplicity screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna do a little refresher and a little crash course on how to view things in Simplicity. I think most of you guys have been able to navigate how to schedule an appointment. All of you should have used Simplicity to upload and submit your LP assignment. So we're gonna do a quick refresher, and then I'm gonna show you some things that you guys may not be aware of. So I'm gonna sign in as a first-year law student over here. Okay. So over here on the left-hand side, we've got the Documents tab. So this is where you would have gone to upload your documents for your LP assignment. I've got my resume and documents there. If you're applying for a job through Simplicity, and it prompts you to apply through Simplicity and upload your documents there, this is where you would do that. So if you want to delete your documents that you submitted for LP, which is totally fine because now you guys have gotten your grades and you know the things that you need to edit or fix. And so you can delete your old documents just by clicking on delete here, the delete tab. And then you can always upload by clicking add new, upload new documents. So once you've revised your resume or revised your cover letter for new employers, you can add those documents here. Simplicity does have a limit. I think it's a size limit. I can't remember what it is. So if,
10.
is it 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they have a limit of 10 space for you to upload at least 10 documents. And then after that, you'll have to delete old documents to make room for new ones. And as a reminder, make sure you're labeling your documents. So if you're applying to Harris County DA's office, make sure you label that document Harris County DA cover letter or so forth. So you're not uploading a Jackson Walker cover letter for a Harris County DA position.
One quick note, if
Yes.
I can, make sure that you're uploading your documents in PDF format. Simplicity will change the formatting of some things if you upload it in Word and you don't want to have those issues with your spacing or the characters. So just make sure that you upload them as a PDF.
Exactly. Okay. I'm not going to spend a ton of time going through how to make an appointment, but if we scroll down here, you're going to click on counseling and calendar, make an appointment. And that's the way you'll make an appointment with Kristen and I. Remember, you can only see 2 weeks of availability in Simplicity for counseling appointments. So with each passing day, another day of availability on our calendar will open up. Kristen and I are going to go ahead and update our availability from now through December 18th. So there'll be plenty of appointments. So just take some time to go on there if you need an appointment and schedule one online there. But again, just remember, like, don't freak out if you don't see anything for December 15th because that time slot just hasn't opened up yet in Simplicity for you to view. All right, let's go back to the home screen here. And taking a second to load. Okay. So when you're searching for positions, Simplicity is by no means the end all be all of where positions are located. It's actually a very limited source, but it's a good place to start. So you can click on Virtual Job Bank, click on Search, and that will pull up positions that are posted in Simplicity. I like to click on all jobs over here on the right-hand side of the screen. I think it just makes it easier to view. So this will pull up, there's 173 positions, and it's a mixture of 1L, 2L, 3L, attorney, postgraduate positions that are all found in the virtual job bank. You can filter that out to search by 1L positions by going here to more filters. You're going to click there and come down, click on 1L. And over here, you can also click on geographic preference if you want to further narrow the search to Houston, or if you're in another city or state. Keep in mind, because we're a Texas school, The majority of the positions are going to be Texas positions or in the surrounding states. We will have things from DC and other states, but it's not going to be as many. So keep that in mind too when you're searching. All right, so we'll click apply with our 1L filter. And so this will pull up positions where employers have stated in the description that they are open to receiving applications from 1Ls. I always encourage you to start here because it's a narrow search, and you can always clear your filter to see if there's anything out there that may have been missed that didn't specifically indicate that they're open to a 1L applicant. So as you can see, there's 59 positions, and you can go through here and see if there's anything that interests you. A lot of employers are noting that they are open to a remote option, which is great because who knows what's going to be going on next summer. We may still be in a remote work situation, or employers may now be more open to having an intern remotely. So you're just going to have to click through there and read what each employer's requirements are. And sometimes you'll be able to apply directly through Simplicity, or it may give you a link to go to the actual employer's website. A couple of the popular positions here, the JOP program, which is the Judicial Internship Opportunity Program, is here. You're going to see a lot of these big law firms having their 1L diversity scholarship programs. So that's where they'll pay you a weekly stipend as if you were a full-time associate there, and oftentimes they offer a scholarship. Okay, so those are some really great ways to earn some extra money and also to kind of secure a position within big law if that's something that you're interested in. Any questions so far? We're good? Okay. Okay, so in addition to the positions that are posted in Simplicity, I also want to direct your attention to a couple of other resources that are in here. So I'm going to go back to my home screen. And over here on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see job search resources. Okay, we've got hyperlinks to several different websites here. A popular one is the Government Honors Handbook. Everyone has the same password. It's TMSL Careers. So if we click here, it takes us to the Arizona Handbook. That's just what it's called. The positions are not all in Arizona. Type in my password of TMSL Careers. Click on View the Handbook. So this is going to pull up a huge directory of government positions, okay? It's a mixture of internships and full-time positions. Most of them are unpaid because they're government positions, but there are some paid positions mixed in there. It's a huge resource. So I don't expect for you to review it all in one time, but I did just want to show you guys where it is, okay? You can search with this drop-down menu for 1L positions. Click the drop-down menu, select 1L applications by deadline. This will pull up all the opportunities that are available to 1Ls. They're across the country, but a lot of them are going to be in DC and in the capital cities of each state. It'll tell you the agency, the program, that it's for 1Ls, and then it'll tell you if it's paid or unpaid. And then application deadline, it'll probably tell you to go to the website to check out the specific employer's deadline. Again, a ton of positions there, but it is a great resource if you're interested in working for the federal government, doing regulatory work. They have stuff, the Patent and Trademark Office, EEOC if you're interested in labor and employment. The list goes on and on. I won't spend a ton of time on that, but this is a great resource. So I do want to make sure that you guys are aware of how to find that. And let me just switch.
Are interested in ever becoming a attorney that practices federal law for a U.S. government agency, this is a great way to get in. They don't tend to hire brand new attorneys right out of law school. So an internship is a great way to get to know people at that office, people that can recommend you for the type of work that you're interested in doing. So keep that in mind if you think you ever may want to work for the IRS or the Department of Justice or FDIC or whatever that is.
Oops. Okay. I'll let you guys explore these others. PSJD is great if you're, again, interested in public service work or working for a nonprofit organization. It's free. You just create your own username and password and you can search positions there. Same thing with Equal Justice Works. Diversity fellowships, we kind of briefly touched on those, but there's a link to those diversity fellowships that are primarily at large law firms. Oscar is great if you're interested in judicial internships, but usually you'll use this more your 2L and 3L years. But I did also want to show you this, and feel free to explore these as well. I did want to show you the Martindale Directory. So if we click Martindale, this is a directory of lawyers and law firms nationwide that you can search through and do some direct outreach with these employers. So I clicked on Martindale. I'm just gonna type in, because we're in Houston, I'm gonna type in Houston, Texas. Search, and it tells you we've got attorneys up here and law firms here. You can search by law firm. Let's see here. We've got, I'm gonna click law firms. And you can search by practice area. Let's say we want to do personal injury law. And then it will pull up firms that all say they do some form of personal injury law, okay? You can also narrow it down by firm size. So if you're interested in working for a small firm that does PI work, you can select 10 to 24 lawyers. That'll pull up attorneys that have a smaller practice. You can check out their firm, email one of the lawyers to see if they're open to having a coffee appointment or talking about their practice area, and then if they possibly have any internship opportunities. You can also come down here and search by law school. Just lost that from, okay. Well, I thought we could. Oh, take me back 1 second. Okay. So if we're on the attorneys tab up here on the left-hand side, you can scroll down and it'll give you a drop down for law school. From here, you can select Thurgood Marshall if you want to find fellow alums in different practice areas, and this will pull up attorneys who have attended Thurgood Marshall School of Law. If you want to reach out to an attorney directly, and again, schedule a coffee appointment, schedule a Zoom meeting, and find out about their practice area and if they have any openings for an internship or can tell you about different opportunities. Okay. Anything else from there, Kristen, that I'm missing?
No, I think that's it. This is a great way to just, kind of like a Yelp search. So it'll tell you all the attorneys who are in the area, how they, what area they practice. You can always go to their law firm from there, go to their LinkedIn profile, and then do your additional research from that point on.
Exactly. Okay. I have a ton of stuff going on at the top of my screen, so it's kind of hard to navigate. Okay. And I think those are the main things I wanted to show you guys from Simplicity. I'll hang here for a second. Do you guys have any other, one very last but yet very important thing is the manual. So over here on this drop-down list on the left, if you click on resources, and go to the resource library. Taking a second for it to come up. Okay, in the middle, there's this search bar here. If you simply type the word manual. Okay, you'll see two PDFs come up. This first PDF is the resume cover letter section from the manual. You guys already received that section when we went over the assignment with you for your LP assignment. Click the 2017-2018 resource manual. We are gonna update this shortly, but this version has everything you need for now. So if you click this, this will give you the entire manual. I encourage you to go ahead and download it to save it on whatever device that you use most. But this is gonna be your career Bible here. A lot of the answers to many of the questions you may have can be found here. Just gonna scroll through this really quickly. It has a lot of things we've already talked about, your job search and so forth, but you guys already have this section. This should all look familiar. When we're talking about your resume and your cover letter, you already have that. But if you need it to review again, it's here for you. All the samples. So this is nothing new. Cover letters, again, nothing new there. Okay, so this starts to talk about some of the things that you guys may need to know at this stage of your job search. So many employers, again, will ask for transcripts. You guys don't have a transcript. You won't have any grades until January. So there's nothing that you can really do with that right now. But next semester, you'll be able to pull your transcript and include it with your applications for those employers who want to see a transcript. We give you instructions on how to do that. Writing samples. Many of you have already asked about, what do I do if an employer wants a writing sample? Do I submit the whole 20-page memo? How do I just take 5 to 10 pages out of it? We give you instructions on how to do that. Again, you only want to submit a writing sample if an employer requests one. You want to edit it, make sure there's no typos. If your professor made comments about the writing sample, go ahead and incorporate the comments in your revised sample before you submit it to the employer. We give you some additional instructions on how to include a cover letter with your writing sample. So you do a header just like you would on your resume, date it, and tell the employer that you're attaching a section of your memo from LP. And then behind that, you'll include your writing sample. Now, if the employer has said, I only want 5 to 7 pages, what you can do is do a brief summary on your cover page about what the writing sample is about. And then behind that, you'll attach the analysis or argument portion of the writing sample. Typically, that's what the employers want to see. They don't really care about the summary of facts and all the background. They just want to see how you analyze the issue and your conclusion. So you'll just take an excerpt of that portion of your writing sample and include it behind the cover page. So that's the writing sample and transcript section. I'll go further through the manual. We also talk about interview tips and tools. We will do mock interviews in January, but this is here for you to review now if you'd like. We give you some sample interview questions there. And next we come to the networking portion. So a lot of you have asked, well, how do I network? How do I reach out to someone on LinkedIn? What do I say? When I use the Martindale Directory and I find a person that I want to meet, how do I send a cold email to someone that I've never met or that I don't know? So we give you some sample emails. We have a little instructional section here, and then we list about 8 or 9 different samples. You don't have to copy them word for word, but if you review them, I'm sure you all are smart enough to piece together an email that you think is appropriate to send to an attorney or professional contact that you don't know. It's called a cold email or a cold outreach. And you'd be surprised how many attorneys are very receptive to receiving those and going ahead and setting up a meeting to have a phone call with you, or a Zoom meeting, or even schedule coffee if that's something that you guys are comfortable doing in person, or nowadays we're doing virtual coffees. So plenty of examples here on how to craft those types of emails. And I think that's really the main things I wanted to point out to you. Again, over the break, take time to kind of flip through the entire manual, but I definitely wanted to point out those networking sample emails and the tips on how to draft your writing sample cover letter. Any questions on that so far? Okay, all right, Kristen, I will stop sharing this and flip back to the presentation if you'd like.
Okay.
I see a couple of things in the chat box.
Well, I think that was just Wesley saying hello.
Oh, okay.
In the beginning.
Any questions before we move on from simplicity or anything?
Anybody? Okay. Do you want me to share my screen?
Oh, sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So let me. Can you see it? Can you see the slideshow?
I can.
Okay, perfect. Is it gonna? Okay, so now we're just going to go through an overview of different types of jobs or practice areas and differences in how they do their hiring or recruiting. I know there's a lot of questions that we get from 1Ls especially about, I'm not sure what a large law firm does. I'm not sure about the difference between, what I would do at a criminal law firm versus what I would do at a personal injury law firm or a family law firm. So we want to talk about the differences in their recruiting and the types of work that you would be doing there. So we'll start out with large law firms, which we typically call big law. They are extremely grade focused. They tend to hire only from the top 5 to the top 10% of each class. So if you think about it in terms of your current class size, I believe there's 188, 189 people in your 1L class. So if we just round that up to 190, that means they will be recruiting from the people ranked number 1 through number 19. Typically. Okay. So once you get your grades back and you get your transcript, it will also include a class rank, and you'll have a number from 1 through 190. Large law firms tend to recruit only as far as the top 10, and sometimes they'll do top 15%. But that's something to keep in mind. If you do have goals or aspirations of working in big law, of working in kind of a high paced, very, prestigious environment, we'll be working on a lot of corporate issues. You will be a first-year associate making, a lot of money, well into $150,000 plus. You have to make sure that you're on top of your grades. Okay, so that's the big thing. And that is kind of a determining factor. Big law tends to always recruit during our on-campus interview programs, and they do that nationwide. They usually have OCI in the winter and also in the fall. So the traditional OCI hiring happens the summer before your 2L year. So you'll go through your entire 1L year, and then around August, you'll hear a notification from OCPD that we're about to begin the OCI process. You would then go on to Simplicity, view the employers that are participating in OCI, and then you would complete a bid to interview with that employer, where you'd submit your resume, your cover letter, and any other documents that they're requesting. They'll do an initial review of everybody's materials and say, yes, we want to interview these 5 students or these 10 students. And then we would schedule interviews through OCPD with those firms. If the interviews go well, you may have a follow-up interview at the firm's office. They may take you to dinner. They may take you to lunch. It's that same kind of process that we see in the TV and the movies, where the students are at the high pressure interview. That's how it works. It may take 2 months for them to make a decision as to who they want to invite to join their 2L summer associate class. But if you do get invited to join that firm, you'll go through a 10-week summer associate program where you'll be doing various things. They tend to rotate you through the different practice groups at the firm. So you may spend 1 week with the tax group, 1 week with the real estate group, 1 week with the IP group, so on and so forth. There's also a lot of social activities, mentoring. They take you to, you know, baseball games, picnics, golf, all sorts of things. And then usually those firms will choose who they're going to make offers to for first-year attorney positions out of their 2L class. So if you want to work in big law, the way you do that is you get hired as a summer associate. The way you get hired as a summer associate is you're in the top 5 to 10% of your class, and you have a spectacular interview. Okay, so that's kind of a summary on big law. Some of the firms that we see a lot of participation in with our office is Jackson Walker, Kirkland Ellis, and Norton Rose. And Jackson Walker is a large Texas-based firm. We have a lot of alums working at Jackson Walker. We have a recent grad from the class of 2020 who just got hired at Jackson Walker in the bankruptcy group. We have a recent grad from the class of 2020, the valedictorian of that class, who got hired at Kirkland and Ellis here in Houston. And then Norton Rose is also a nationwide firm that we have a lot of alums, and they always tend to participate and hire good students. So those are 3 that you can keep eye out for. Like I said, the positions are very competitive. If you don't get in through a 1L diversity program, please make sure to apply again for OCI during the summer before your 2L year.
I think I see really quickly. Yeah, we have a lot of questions about the grades. So nationwide, 1Ls will not get grades until January, and large law firms know that. Okay, so I know Jackson Walker is still asking students to go ahead and apply. And what they'll do is they'll review applications. If they're interested in what they see, they'll either go ahead and invite you in for an interview, where at that time you can submit an updated, what your GPA and updated rank is. Or they may say, hey, we're really interested in your application. Do you have grades now? Can you go ahead and send in your transcript or let us know what your GPA and ranks are? And you would furnish that information at that time. As a 1L, like Kristen said, it's super competitive, but there are a ton of diversity fellowship programs that you can apply for. But again, they're very competitive. Again, like she said, if you don't get a big law position your 1L summer, don't panic. It doesn't mean you're never going to get the big law. Apply again your 2L summer. But even if you're unsure about your grades, I wouldn't spend the whole summer only applying to big law positions. Spread out your applications. If you think you really want to do big law, you're feeling confident about your grades, or even if you're unsure about your grades, definitely go ahead and pick out some firms to apply to and just give it your best shot and see what happens. There was also several big law firms that hire through the HBA's diversity program as well. Yes,
and there are at least 4 or 5 big law firms that are currently advertising for 1L diversity programs, and they're on Simplicity. Jackson Walker, Norton Rose, Bracewell, Reed Smith, Haynes and Boone.
Stoll,
yes,
there's a ton.
So there's a lot on there. So if you fit the criteria for a diversity fellowship, we would definitely encourage you to do that and just see where it goes. Do we have any more questions about big law before I move on to small to mid-sized firms? Okay. So I'm gonna, next category, mid-sized firms and small law firms. So these are firms typically with less than 100 lawyers for mid-size and then less than 50 lawyers for a small firm. Their hiring tends to vary really greatly. It depends on the needs of the firm. If the firm does not bring in the revenue to support hiring an intern and paying them, or hiring a new attorney and paying them, they won't do it. They'll wait until their revenues can support bringing people onto the staff, okay? And as a result of that, they don't typically make hiring decisions until the end of the spring semester. So it's not typical for a small-sized firm or a mid-sized firm to make hiring decisions at this time of year, December, January, February, because they really have to wait to see where their money is before they make those offers. So you can expect to see offers from those types of firms around March and April, okay, towards the end of the semester. And also a lot of the small to mid-sized firms participate in the career expos that a lot of schools have in the spring, and we'll be having one in the spring. And they also participate in the Houston Bar Association's summer diversity program. So if that's the way you want to go, there will be opportunities to work or apply to those jobs. It will just be later on in the semester. As far as what types of firms will be mid-sized or small, it's basically everything outside of big law and outside of government or public interest work. So we're talking about personal injury firms, family law firms, tax firms, real estate firms, bankruptcy, any other sort of practice area that is not covered in a corporate environment in big law, or is not covered by a government job. And we're also talking about criminal defense firms. So someone who represents people who are charged with crimes that do not have representation from the public defender's office. Those are all small and mid-sized law firms, okay? Many of them do not post their job openings. It's through networking, it's through word of mouth. So if you're interested in connecting with someone who works in a certain practice area, you can try to do the research on your own through LinkedIn, through Martindale, through some of the resources that we've talked about. You can always go on the TMSL Facebook groups, the students and alumni page, or the One TMSL group, and say, hi, I'm a first year, I'm interested in doing, some criminal defense work this summer. Is there any alums that are looking for someone? They're very responsive, and there is a very cooperative relationship and the current students. They're always willing to help students. It may not be a paid position, but you can always get some experience. And then also you can always reach out to Nikki or I for recommendations. If you say, I want to, work for a personal injury firm, but I'm going back home to Austin for the summer, could you guys help me? We usually can find someone to refer you to, at least for a phone conversation or a virtual interview. So you have to network if you're looking to find a position at a smaller mid-sized firm. They'll always, or I should say oftentimes, also offer opportunities to work throughout the school year. It's not uncommon when small or mid-sized firms take on a larger case or a larger project that they need additional hands on deck. And so sometimes we'll see opportunities for, we need help for 6 weeks, or we need help for the spring semester. And that's, again, another way to get some experience, to build a network, to build a relationship that will hopefully turn into a summer position or a full-time attorney position. Did I miss anything, or does anybody have questions about small to mid-sized firms?
I think we're good. I don't see anything in the chat.
All right. Oh, wait, someone has a question. Could you possibly recap government? Okay, government federal positions and the chances of getting there. We're headed there next. So Grace, if we don't cover your question, just feel free to ask it in the chat, okay? The next category is government work. Most government positions, whether they're at the state level, the federal level, or the local level, are unpaid. So just keep that in mind, okay? The government is a huge practice area. So on the federal level, you're thinking about, the IRS, you're thinking about Department of Education, United States Department of Health and Human Services, those sorts of large agencies, Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney's Office. On the state level, you're talking about the state of Texas, the Health and Human Services for the state of Texas, the Texas Board of Education, things like that. On the local level, it's City of Houston, Harris County, Fort Bend County, the Port Authority, the school boards, the ISDs, all those sorts of things. So there are plenty of different jobs. They all have legal departments or general counsel departments. But just keep in mind, most internships are unpaid because it's a government job, and taxpayers don't necessarily want to always pay students, but there are always exceptions to each rule. So there are some positions that are paid, but don't expect to be paid if you are looking to work in a government position as an intern. Federal government hiring may start as early as August, but again, it tends to take place throughout the fall semester and sometimes even into the spring semester. Only certain federal agencies will routinely hire entry-level attorneys directly out of law school. The ones that do tend to hire specifically through federal programs like the Honors Program or the Presidential Management Fellows Program. And that's why when Nikki was going over the Arizona Handbook, it mentioned all of the federal intern positions. And I noted that that was a great way to kind of get your foot in the door. If you think you may want to practice some kind of government law, especially on the federal level, please consider applying for the honors program, which you'll do, I believe, starting your second year, or just try to apply for an internship during your first year. So you just start to get that experience. As far as state and local government is concerned, hiring doesn't begin until November, December, and again, it can extend into March or April. State and local government agencies tend to always participate in OCI at our school and also participate in the career fairs. We have a lot of students who do work at the city attorney, the county attorney, the district attorney, the public defender, those sorts of places. So you will see those positions pop up on Simplicity quite often. And we have a lot of alums working at those agencies. So it's very easy for us to connect you with those people. I see some comments in the chat. I think, okay, everything looks like it's being handled. Is there anyone who has a question about government positions? Okay, so the next category is judicial internships. Again, typically unpaid, okay? Students are expected to always accept an offer if they're offered a job from a judge. Judicial internships are considered very prestigious, very hard to obtain. Employers look very favorably upon them. So it's considered, I guess, poor practice or poor taste to apply for a position with a judge and then tell the judge, no thanks, I found a job where I'm going to make money, so I'm going to turn down this offer. So it's not necessarily against the code of conduct, or, you know, it's not going to get you kicked out of school or put on discipline, and you're not going to get arrested, but it's considered kind of in poor taste. And you really want to maintain the best reputation you can, even while you're in law school. So we really want to encourage you guys to make sure that if you are going to apply to be a judicial intern, that you are willing, you know, to accept that position, because they don't like it, especially in federal court. 1Ls and 2Ls can apply for the Judicial Internship Opportunity Program, which is JIOP. That's sponsored by the American Bar Association. They will provide a stipend to offset the cost for the summer. I don't know if the stipend is paid at the beginning or the end of the summer, but we do have a lot of students who participated in the JIOP program. Basically, you go to the ABA's JIOP website. It will give you an application and tell you what the criteria is, what documents you have to submit. And then you will submit your application to the JIOP program. If you're accepted into the JIOP program, they will ask you for your preferences as far as where you might like to work. They may ask you, I think, for 3 preferences. And you can say, yeah, I want to do a judicial internship in Houston. I would also go to Miami. I would also go to Atlanta. And you can tell them where you'd like to work, and they will make every effort to get you an interview, or at least get you in contact with a federal judge who's also participating in that program. And if there is a match, if the judge feels like you would be a valuable addition to their office, you'll get an internship with that judge. And I believe there's state and federal judges, even all the way up to the Federal Court of Appeals level. So that's a great way, if you think you might want to be a judicial intern, apply to join the JIOP program, and JIOP will match you with a judge.
And we also have that.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, maybe you're going to share about the info session.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I forgot. Yes, we're having an info session on JIOP. I believe, do we have the date offhand, Nikki? I think it's...
Let me look it up.
Okay. I think it's December 18th. It's December 14th. So December 14th, and it's going to be at noon. We'll send you guys a reminder to sign up for that. But we'll have an alum and current attorney who participated in the JIOP program when he was at TMSL and is now still affiliated with the organization, to give you, tips, answer questions, tell you how the process works, how important it is. So we'll have a current student who's participated in the program this past summer, and then an alum who participated in the program in years past. But it's a great opportunity. If you know that you want to be a judicial intern, or you're interested in maybe being a judicial intern, we highly encourage you to apply for that program. For state clerkships, those are for state court judges. So judges within the state of Texas or any other state that you might want to apply to, the deadlines vary from state to state and even vary depending on the level of the court. So the trial court level, the appeal court level, the Supreme Court level. You'd have to research whatever judge it is you're interested in applying for, and then contact their chambers, their trial court manager, or their legal secretary, their judicial assistant, to find out how they would like the application materials to be received. Again, there will be judges who are participating in the HBA program, state and federal court judges. So if you'd like to apply to them through the HBA program, that's a great opportunity to do that. And you also get to apply to 5 employers total. So you could pick 1 or 2 judges out of the 5 that you have the opportunity to apply to, if that's what you'd like to do. Any questions about judicial internships? Okay, I think that's it then. Let's go.
Okay.
Oops, I went too far. There you go. Oh, wait. Next. There you go.
Okay. Do you mind if I just use your screen?
Oh, sure. Nope, I can click for you.
Okay, thanks. All right, so we've given you guys a ton of information about the different practice areas, broadly defined. So how do we find your position? Where do I search, right? So we've gone through Simplicity Job Bank and the other resource links that you can find in Simplicity. Also, Indeed is an excellent resource. LinkedIn Jobs is awesome too. And you can also apply directly to firms and organizations, go to their website. A lot of times they'll have a career page or human resources page where you can find out information about internships. If it's an organization or an employer that you can't find information about a specific program, but you're really interested in that employer, you can always try emailing the Human Resources Office to find out if they do offer some type of legal internship or other internship program in the summer. You can always search for positions on Google. And of course, networking is always going to be your best option. Your professors are great resources. Again, connecting with people on LinkedIn, alumni. Again, Kristen and I can try to help connect you with people as well. I put in the chat, just as a caveat to this, Assistant Dean Prudence Smith, who's also in the same suite, although I guess you guys, most of you all have never been to campus to know that, but Assistant Dean Prudence Smith, she is oversees external affairs and our alumni association. I put her email in the chat box. It's very similar to Kristen and I's. It's just prudence.smith@tmslaw.tse.edu. She's also on the law school's website. You can always email her if you're interested in connecting with an alum. If you're in DC and you want to connect with an alum in a particular practice group, she can oftentimes link you with an alum that's in that practice area, or at least in that city, who may be able to introduce you to other people. So she's a great resource for that as well. When you're searching for positions, especially on Indeed or in LinkedIn, you can use some of the terms there that we have. You can search legal intern, law clerk, even entering just the search term JD for Juris Doctor will also pull up positions, judicial intern, legal assistant. You just kind of have to play around with it to see what pops up for you that sparks your interest. We encourage you guys to be flexible. Many employers are offering remote opportunities. So if you're in Dallas and you know you can't afford to move anywhere unless it's for a well-paid position, also, keep your options open, search everywhere. California, they're very tech savvy and friendly. A lot of the employers there are offering remote positions. So keep your options open as you're considering where to work next summer. Okay, I think next slide. Great. We talked about application materials. You all should have a resume done now with edits from Kristen and I. If you have questions about those edits or want us to view your revised documents, you can email them to us in Word format, or you can schedule an appointment with us to review them. Remember, you always need to have a tailored cover letter for each employer. There's no such thing as a generic cover letter. You really do have to draft one for every employer. Again, sometimes employers will request writing sample, a diversity or personal statement, or they may have their own specific applications that they want you to submit in addition to a resume or cover letter. Remember, no one's going to have grades until January. We have some tips there for you. Keep applying unless the employer specifically asks you to wait until you have grades. So you'll have to read the instructions on every position that you're interested in applying to. Only send the documents that they're asking you to send. I noticed in some of your sample cover letters that you guys did for the LP assignment, you mentioned that you were including a writing sample and when one wasn't requested. So only send things that the employer is asking you to send. Lastly, trust yourself. I know a lot of times it can be scary to start sending off cover letters on your own. Yes, Kristen and I are here to help support you and help you edit your documents, but there's no way we can review every single cover letter that you want to send out for all 100 or so of you in the class. So yes, go back and forth with us a couple times on some revisions for a cover letter, and then trust yourself and just send them off and start applying. And next slide, please. All right, so right now, over the break, research positions, revise and edit your resume or documents, and start applying until you get a yes. There's no magic number. Students say, well, how many jobs should I apply for? I don't have an answer for that. Some students send off 5 resumes and get 3 offers or get 0 offers, and others send out 75. So it just depends. But keep applying, hang in there until you get a yes for that summer position. Okay, so over the next few weeks, OCPD is going to be around to help you. We will still be here taking appointments, as we said, through the 18th. We're going to take a break during the week of Christmas and then pick back up after Christmas. Monitor your emails. There are 2 major programs that we still have coming down the pipe for you. The HBA 1L Diversity Program, they are still registering employers for that program. We have a meeting with the committee next week to discuss where they are with that. So that's a major program with a January deadline. So if we're sending you an email, we're going to try not to flood your emails, but if you get an email from us, it's important. So please keep an eye on your emails over the break. Again, feel free to schedule an appointment with us for one-on-one help. If you have like quick questions or, hey, can you just take a look at this cover letter that I edited, or just need for a second set of eyes on it, you don't have to schedule an appointment with us for that. You can just feel free to send us an email. Again, if you're sending documents to be reviewed, make sure they're in Word format so that we can easily edit them for you. Again, download the manual. We showed you guys where to find it in Simplicity. There's a lot of answers to frequently asked questions in that document. And I think that's it.
Just received a question in the chat. Is the HBA program open for applications yet? No. It was supposed to be open for applications, but the committee who was in charge of recruiting employers to participate in the program needed additional time. So they are still asking employers to join and getting employers to sign up to participate, which ultimately is better for you guys. You'll have more employers to choose from. As soon as the committee finalizes the list of employers who will be participating in the program, Nikki and I are going to upload that list of employers to Simplicity. And then all you have to do is go to Simplicity and apply to join the program. You'll be able to see the list of employers and what each employer is requiring, whether that employer is offering a paid position or an unpaid position. All the information you need will be in Simplicity. So as soon as the committee finishes that work of employer recruitment, we will let you guys know that the applications are open.
Yep, and one of the reasons why we had you guys submit the LP assignment the way that we did through Simplicity is because that is very similar to how you're going to submit your application for the HBA diversity program. So once we finalize everything with the committee, we'll send you a step-by-step document very similar to the one that we sent out for your LP assignment, telling you how to log in, where to go, where to find the list, how to upload your documents and so forth. So keep an eye out for that. And
then I think I just wanted to maybe give the dates for the upcoming programs, just for those people that are on the call. We will be emailing you, but just since we have you here, the next program will be on Tuesday, December 8th, and that is the discussion with the General Counsel for Hewlett Packard Enterprise, or HPE. Some of you may have participated in the interview process for their summer intern position, which we had a few months ago. We are starting to develop more programming with HPE and a deeper relationship with them. They're a global tech company. So if you're interested in learning more about working in tech, working for general counsel, working as a corporate in-house attorney, we'd encourage you to join that call. I think the link to register has already been sent out in an email, but if you have questions about that, please feel free to email us. Again, that's going to be Tuesday, December 8th at 12 noon. And then the following day, on Tuesday, December 9th, we're doing an info session for the Law and Technology internship. And this is an internship where tech companies have gotten together with law firms to do a hybrid summer internship program. So for instance, some of the tech companies are HP, GoPro, what are some more? I think Amazon may be participating.
eBay,
yes.
Uber.
Uber, yes. And then so those law firms, those tech companies have partnered with law firms around the country to do a hybrid tech in-house position, and then a traditional summer associate internship with a law firm. So you'll split your summer. Half of the summer will be at the tech company, half of the summer will be at the law firm. So we had, I think, 3 students participate last year. One was with HP. Oh, Airbnb is also a participant. I can't remember all the companies, but there's a lot of companies that are involved. And then
and
I know
paid
that
positions.
yes, well paid. Yes. And think about it in terms of, if you'd ever like to work for an in-house company, specifically a tech company, it gives you the best of both worlds. So you'll get in-house experience, and you'll also get traditional law firm summer associate experience. So the info session for the Law and Technology Diversity Collaborative is going to be on Wednesday, December 9th at 12. And again, I think we've sent out an email about that, but if not, we will definitely be sending a reminder. And then on December 14th at 12, we're having an info session on the JIOP program, which is the Judicial Internship Opportunity Program. If that's something that interests you, please attend that session. And I think that's it. That's going to be our final program for the semester. Did I miss anything? That's it. Let me see what's in the chat here.
I was just reiterating the programs.
Thank you. And then the resume and cover letters, just email Nikki or I to get those documents back. If your last name begins with A through H or I, A through, okay, sorry, H through J, you need to email Nikki, and then K through Z, email me. So depending on where your alphabet is, just email Nikki or I, and we'll send them back to you.
I put that in the chat too.
Okay. And then, oh, sorry, I wanted to go back to that last slide. So here's a reminder on programs that are coming up. Before we did this, we didn't have the dates in place when we made these slides, but Diversity Internship Program to be determined. As soon as we get the list of employers, we'll let you guys know. On Tech is going to be December 9th at noon. IOP December 14th for the info session. Our OCI program, we're recruiting employers right now. Students will be able to see all the participating employers on December 16th. So keep in mind that date. And then we'll be having a virtual public service fair on February 10th. Your emails in the chat. Yes. That concludes, I think.